Welcome back to the Ponca City Monthly podcast. I'm your host, Andy, and it's getting close to Christmas. We're almost to the end of the year. And throughout the year, what I've done is try to bring in different people from the magazine and sort of talk to you so you can kind of get a feel for what things are like behind the scenes a little bit. And so as we're ending the year, I thought it'd be fun to bring in Jill, who is our resident Cocktail of the Month writer, to kind of give us some ideas for drinks for the end of the year, maybe lead us into the new year. Jill, how are you doing today?
Good. How are you doing, Andy? I'm doing good.
Awesome. I'm glad you joined us today. I'm so excited to get to talk to you and kind of share a little bit about your story. How long have you been, how did you get into like the whole making drinks and doing all that fun stuff? Well, wait a minute. First, Jill, you do a lot here besides just write that column. You also pretty much run the shop for My Media Matters. Tell us a little bit about what exactly you do.
I've kind of become Kelsey's right-hand man here. I do anything creative graphically you can think of: website design, social media management, logo design. I even help with email service sometimes when I can help. But I do a lot. So, yeah. And one of them is the cocktail article, which I really enjoy.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about because you started out as a bartender in Cincinnati, correct?
Correct. Yes.
So you started there. You're from Cincinnati.
Yes.
That's where you're born and raised.
Yeah, I'm originally from Cincinnati, and I graduated from the Art Academy in Cincinnati, and most of my artist friends and people that I graduated ended up in bartending, as creatives do. We end up in the service industry. It kind of allots us time to still be creative. And so I found myself in that same scenario. I started out in kind of like a hole-in-the-wall bar, and I kind of climbed my way up. I've done all different kinds of bars: cocktail bars, barcades, rock music venues, cigar lounge, dive bars. I've done it all.
You've been all around the world making drinks and stuff like that. So when you started out, was it difficult for you to learn how to make drinks, or did you just naturally flow into that?
Well, I didn't know what I was doing at all. And I actually had a girlfriend that worked at my favorite bar at the time. I saw they were hiring. So I went in, I said, please just give me an interview. I just need the chance. So again, I had no idea what I was doing, so I made flashcards, and I memorized them, and I thought, anything they throw my way, I'm going to nail it. I'm going to know it. And so I went in, and the interview couldn't be less informal. And he was just like, what do you want to drink? And I was just ordered the easiest thing I could think of to keep it easy on him. And he was like, right answer. And, we just chatted, and I ended up getting the job. And I said, well, aren't you going to ask me how to make any drinks? And he was like, no, you'll figure that out. And I said, well, I made all these flashcards. And I pulled out my flashcards and I showed him. And he was like, oh, can you leave these here for the other bartenders? Like, we all kind of need them. And so I worked a Friday night, and he was like, it won't be that busy. It was so busy. I couldn't even handle it. I couldn't keep up. And somebody ordered a Sex on the Beach, a very girly, very popular drink at that time. And I could not remember what was in it at all, even though I had memorized those flashcards. So I asked him, I was like, what's in a Sex on the Beach? And he was like, make it up. So I made it up, and I gave it to the girl, and I watched her take a drink, and she just turned around, didn't say anything. And so I was like, I have no idea what I just made, but I nailed it. So I found that confidence is key in bartending.
Right.
And even if I don't have all the right answers, that's okay. I could figure it out.
Yeah. So Sex on the Beach was the beginning for you. So that was sort of so you really, it sounds like you kind of got into bartending like trial by fire. They just sort of threw you out there on a Friday night and said, good luck.
Yeah, they did. And I survived that night and kept coming back. So, yeah, that was really my first taste of it. And I loved it. I loved the adrenaline. I loved the late nights. I loved my friends being able to come in and visit me. I loved making really fun things, experimenting and trying with new things, and then giving somebody that drink and just watching the look on their face of satisfaction, or sometimes not so much. But if that's the case, let's remake it and try again.
Yeah.
But yeah, I enjoyed it.
So where did your love of tell? Because in addition to making drinks and coming up with drinks, you also like to tell the history of the drink, and that's kind of like your signature thing. Where does that come from, do you think?
I would not claim that as my signature thing. I would say it's actually came from my biggest inspiration, who is a very unique personality in Cincinnati. She is a bartender who's fabulous, has owned multiple bars, owns her own gin brand. And she is like the cocktail guru in Cincinnati. And she's heavily tattooed and real bubbly and fun too. So often her bar was next door to mine. And people often would stumble into my bar thinking I was her. And they would say, "Are you Molly Wellman?" And I would just say, "Yep." And I just laugh about it. And I'd tell her about it later. I'm like, "Yep, somebody thought I was you. And I said I was." And she's like, "Oh, I love that. That's so funny." So she knows all. She does countless hours of history of cocktails. Her knowledge delves so deep. So I've learned a lot from her and been inspired to learn more from her knowledge as well. It's really cool. So that's been kind of my goal coming here too, and working in the bar industry, is maybe I can give some education. I'm not quite as knowledgeable, but I think it's really interesting to learn more about what you're drinking and where it comes from and the story behind it.
So over the course of the year, you do 12. You do drink of the month every month.
Yep.
Over the last year, what's been the drink that has been the maybe weirdest for you to find out about, do you think? Is that a hard question to answer?
The weirdest?
Or like for you, that was the most like interesting to experience or to write about or to learn about? Because I mean, are these all drinks that are familiar to you? Or are you learning about new drinks or things like that as you go through?
Both. I kind of started out with the very first cocktail, or said to believe one of the first cocktails, which was a punch. And one of the first cocktail books ever, I reference it so many times. It's called The Difford's Guide. I believe that's how it's pronounced. And it has all of the original cocktails. And what you'll kind of find in a consistent thing is that there's a base to all cocktails. And most of them spawn from these bases. And so the history goes back really far to some of these cocktails, but then some of these newer ones, it's kind of hard to find a story about, because really it's just become about experimentation through the years. And we've, developed all these new flavors and found these pairings that are really kind of outlandish, where they couldn't really do in the past, because I feel a lot of times these drinks, they were trying to make them as simple as possible, especially during Prohibition, because you weren't supposed to be drinking.
Right.
So you basically, it was like sugar and alcohol and boom, like we got to get this done and get to drinking. So the histories, I find them all interesting. Some are more outlandish and have a better story to tell than others. But yeah, I think the one about Tom Collins is really interesting. Margarita is very interesting. And I talk about all these in my cocktail articles. So if you ever want to hear about them, go back and look them up.
Nice. So do you remember what the story of the margarita was?
Yes. So again, one commonality of all of these bar stories is that they're shrouded in mystery. And as they kind of get passed down through the generations, obviously through people drinking and retelling these, they kind of get clouded. And so there's often multiple origin stories. So for the margarita, it was said that, this one bartender served this famous actress named Margarita at the Times, and then she went and told everybody that the drink was named after her. And then there was another Margarita or Marguerite or something that said the same thing. And, so it kind of went back and forth between those two. But when in actuality, Margarita spawns from the original cocktail, the Daisy, and Daisy in Spanish is Margarita. I don't speak Spanish. I can't remember, but along those lines.
Sure.
So you can kind of see where, it's fun to think about that it could be named after a famous person at the time when, maybe it's more likely that it came from the original term Daisy. So
yeah,
there's a lot of history to it, often layered.
Do you think in your line of work, is there a difference between somebody who is like a bartender who's a mixer and somebody who just makes drinks? Like, do you distinguish those two, or are they the same person? You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
I think there's a place for every bartender.
Sure.
I love going to a good dive bar and just grabbing a beer. I mean, that's pretty much my go-to. But I also really enjoy a knowledgeable bartender that has done a lot of research and tried a lot of different things and really loves the art of the cocktail and making it, and likes, trying different things too as well that you might not think of ordinarily, making the drink look beautiful, all of the things. So I think there's a place for all bartenders, and I know there's good and bad bartenders, sure, but again, I think there's a place for everyone.
There's like really good bartenders and then those who are trying really hard.
Yeah, and I think that's just a personality.
Sure.
Too. I mean, I've just always been a really creative person, so I've enjoyed being creative as a bartender. I do that in everything I do, so I think it's personality. So if you don't love the art of it, then it might not be your thing.
I was interviewing last month. Our guest was Amy Guerin, who does the Food Crush, and that was a resonating thing that we discussed. Like, cooking food is not. If you don't enjoy the process of it, maybe cooking food isn't for you. And so maybe bartending, if the process of making drinks is not for you, maybe you're not a bartender.
Absolutely, and I suck at cooking, so cooking is not for me.
Yeah.
I'm a better baker, and I'm like, does that have to do with cocktail formulas? Because I think if you can follow a recipe just like you follow a recipe in baking, if you do it long enough, you start to say, well, I like almond better than vanilla, so I use that versus that because that's my preference. And that's the same with cocktails. You'll start out with a simple base, but you're like, I actually, instead of simple syrup, I use a lavender syrup and I like that better. And so you've created your own custom cocktail right there.
Speaking of creating custom cocktails, whenever you start down the path of gonna create a cocktail, what are some of the elements that you take into consideration with? Do you do it seasonally, or do you do it per person who you're making a drink for?
I would say both. I love doing things seasonally. I enjoy going to different places and finding whatever is in season, making my own syrups, making my own juices, infusing, making my own bitters, all of those things I really enjoy doing. And so you can do different things seasonally. And I think some of those flavors we just crave seasonally too. Like cinnamon, I mean, I gotta have it in the fall. Any other time, I'm like, not,
Sure.
it's I could take it or leave it, basically. I think a lot of my flavors and cocktails of the month and custom cocktails that I do come seasonally, but also my first question to a person saying surprise me would be, well, what's your flavor? What alcohol do you like? Because that matters. If I give you a whiskey drink or and you really are a vodka cranberry person because you don't enjoy the taste of alcohol as much, no matter what, you're probably not going to like that cocktail, no matter how well built it is. So you've got to really tailor it to the person. Unfortunately, sometimes you do have to play 20 questions to get to that, and people get annoyed with you, but it's like, trust me, I just want you to really enjoy this experience. Cocktails are not always the cheapest, so let's get you something you like the first time.
Cocktails can be all kinds of stuff. So we're getting into Christmas time, getting into fall. What are some fall, what do you start with? When you say, okay, we're getting into fall, Christmas, or winter, what are some of the base flavors that you would start with?
Oh, I think, like I said, cinnamon, apple. I think oil fire. It's time to shine right now. I love a good hot toddy as soon as it starts getting cold and your sinuses start going. Oh my gosh, there's nothing better. I swear it's a cure-all.
I've heard that.
Also, White Russians, I think seasonally around this time are really great. Ginger beer. So a lot of those flavors are great fall leading into winter, into the colder times.
One of the things that we were talking about was having a few drinks set up for the holiday season. And you... So this will be in the January issue. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So this will be in the January issue. So it's coming out, but we're going to give you a preview to that, to some of the drinks that you recommend having available to your guests for the holidays. What is your third, the runner up there?
Okay. So for January, I talk about my top 3 cocktail recommendations for New Year's Eve. And I wouldn't say there is an order per se. So the bottom 2 are probably just really simple and easy. And I think that's the key to New Year's Eve is you're just trying to have a good time.
Right.
You're not trying to play bartender all night for your friends or yourself. So, one thing I recommend is a mule. It's super easy, and you can put so many spins on it. You can do flavored vodkas. You can do regular. You run out of something, you can just substitute something right in really nicely. And it's not super heavy. Mm-hmm. So I feel like you can have a couple and not feel, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Like you're on sugar overload or you're just super full.
And that goes back kind of to that ginger beer that you were talking about. Is so kind of a nice base for fall flavory kind of stuff. Do you have a favorite ginger beer that you prefer? We're not being endorsed by anybody, so just name them off.
I think one of the more common ones is going to be Gosling's, but I like Fever Tree.
Yeah, I was going to say Fever Tree is
a little spicier.
My favorite.
Yeah. It's got a little bit more tang to it, and so I enjoy that. Not everybody does, but yeah, it's just all preference. So I talk about the mule.
So walk us through a basic mule recipe. So in case people don't know, you're going to mix a certain part of ginger beer with...
Okay, so you just take your base liquor, whatever you want to do. Like I said, I recommended vodka or a flavored vodka. Say you want to do a blueberry mule, grab a blueberry vodka, 2 ounces of that, a dash of lime juice in there. I say fresh lime juice all the way, but if you don't have that, grab lime cordial. And then you add ice and top with ginger beer. And, the old school method is to put in a copper cup if you want to be fancy. But really, that just keeps it colder longer. So if you don't have that, it really doesn't make a difference.
See, now I think it does. But so I had this memory of one time, like the very first time I had a mule, I was at a party and it was so cold, and I was standing outside because that's what you do at a party, right?
Yep.
And the cup was freezing as I was standing there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so ever since then, I want to have my mule and I want the cup to freeze, and
Yeah.
it doesn't work that way. But yeah. So would you mentioned earlier that you mix a lot of your own like syrups and bitters. And you mentioned about the blueberry. Is that something that you would make yourself or something you would buy?
Yeah, seasonally I would make my own blueberry syrup and do something like that. But when you're in a crunch, I mean, like I said, for New Year's Eve, keep it easy.
Sure.
You know, just grab your favorite flavor and go.
Throw in some cranberry.
There's
and call
nothing
it
wrong
sassy.
with a little bit of cheating. So I'm not that, I'm not that bartender that's going to shame you really for anything. I might question you, but I won't shame you.
Right. Yeah. And yeah, you're at a party. You're going to make this. Is this something that you can make in like a big batch?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you can make those in a big batch.
Yeah. Speaking of a big batch, my second cocktail that I recommend is a punch.
Okay.
So that way you can batch it, and it's really simple. People love that. It's a go-to of mine, bringing different batch cocktails, punches, and stuff like that to share. It's just easier that way. And the punch that I recommend is a older punch. Actually, no, it's not a newer punch, but it's based on an older figure. So it's called the Billingsley Punch, and it's based on a notorious ex-bootlegger.
Okay.
So it's a newer punch based on an older figure, which I think that's really neat too, is when you find kind of modern day recipes that have a cool history to it like that I find that really interesting. So in this punch, it's got gin, one of my favorites. I love gin.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't like gin. They love to hate on gin, but I think they just haven't had it right.
They
just haven't had it in the right cocktail. But it's got gin, grapefruit, lemon, bitters, sugar, and soda water. So it's light, but it's got some fruitiness to it. Oh, and it has Aperol as well. And Aperol is one of my favorites. It's very herbal, but altogether it's kind of got a little bit of a fruity taste, but the bitters and the Aperol give it a little bit of complexity with some different notes added to it. So it's light with the soda water, but it's got a good flavor to it.
So it's kind of like a fancy gin and tonic, sort of, with the soda water.
Yeah, with the fruit. Tonic's got a different taste, definitely, than soda.
Okay.
I would say. I'm not really a big tonic drinker, so that's probably why I would say that.
Nice. I only drink gin and tonics are mine. When I was younger, one of my favorite drinks was a gin and Sonic, where you go to Sonic and just get like whatever and put some gin in it. That worked for me.
I love it. Keep it simple. Like I said, whatever floats
at a party,
your boat.
yeah.
Whatever floats your boat. Don't overthink it too much. Just keep it simple. So those are my bottom two.
All right.
My top one.
This is for your A-list guests.
Yes, this is A-list, including myself. This is one of my favorite cocktails of all time. Again, it includes gin.
Nice.
It's going to be the French 75.
Okay.
And it brings in that bubbly, the champagne that we all know and love on New Year's Eve. So it's got gin, lemon, simple syrup, and champagne. And it's just real bubbly, kind of light. It's got that kick with the gin in it, but you don't put as much gin in it. It doesn't have a whole shot of it. So
okay. That's where I usually make the mistake.
Okay, yeah.
One or two, whatever feels good. It's the holidays.
Again, everybody's preference is different. Me personally, I find that if I make the drink correctly, I end up loving them and drinking more versus having to suffer through something that's too strong and just end up not really enjoying it as much. So I think, but everybody's different. Sometimes you want that kick. So as long as you have a designated driver, I'd say more power to you.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. These are drinks you're going to make at home.
Absolutely.
You don't have to drive.
Yes, I agree. We're making these at home.
So since it's New Year, getting close to New Year's, and we brought it up, champagnes. Do you have specific? I'm a champagne snob.
Okay. See, I don't. This is going to be sad, but I don't know a lot about wine and champagne.
Sure.
So I'm open to learning. In fact, I need to learn a little bit more about that. I've done many wine tastings and stuff, and I enjoy it. But I can't say that I can distinguish a super fine. I've had Dom Perignon before, and I thought it was good, but it didn't like knock my socks off or anything. So again, I probably wouldn't know the difference. I don't love super sweet. I will say that. So I might lean more towards like a Brut or something like that as far as champagne goes, especially when I'm mixing it with other sweet ingredients.
So for your particular cocktail for New Year's, you don't recommend like a sweet, like I like Prosecco.
I think that could be fine, but it would lean on the sweeter side.
Sure. Yeah. And that's why I like it, but I don't like a rosé. I don't like sweet like that. Those get too sweet for me and not happy.
I think we love stuff like that when we're younger for some reason. I loved bringing it back to the Sex on the Beach. That was one of my favorite drinks. So I couldn't believe when I froze because I love that drink. But yeah, the rosés and the real sweet syrupy stuff, I just can't do it anymore.
You know, when you start going out to the bar and you're trying to figure out the things that you like and what you don't like or what you drink, you kind of drink some embarrassing stuff. And you mentioned the White Russian. My drink of choice. I'm so embarrassed. But when my my early 20s, my drink of choice was the mudslide. I would full on go to a hole in the wall bar and order a mudslide.
Yep. But I worked at hole in the wall bars and I was like happy to get something different sometimes. Maybe not when I was super busy. I'd be like, a mudslide? Are you serious right now?
How old are you?
Yeah, like grow up.
Chocolate milk with
Exactly. Grow up. Come on, Andy.
Yeah. All right. Well, Jill, thank you so much for joining us. I hope these drinks are going to be fun for the holidays. I hope everybody has a great end of year. Jill, do you have fun holiday plans?
No, not really. Not yet. Yeah, just spending it with family and hopefully getting some good time to relax and read a good book.
Yeah, because people don't know, but at the Ponca City Monthly, I was the one that instigated this. We basically take the month of December off because in the publishing world, not a whole lot happens in December. You get the December issue out. That's sort of the big issue. And then January comes and we all take some time off. So We're looking forward to some time off. So Jill, thanks so much for joining us. Thanks.
Thank you, Andy.